What's up, everybody? It's your boy Q Hicks, and I'm back with another draft video on LSU cornerback Derek Stingley Jr., who's clearly the best cornerback in the 2022 NFL draft and most likely a top 5 pick. If this is your first time on the channel, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. Now let's dive into it. Derek Stingley Jr. is a 6'1" cornerback out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. For some players, the game just comes naturally to them, and Stingley Jr. is one of those players, and genetics have a lot to do with it. He is a third-generation high-level athlete after his grandfather, Darryl Stingley, who played receiver in the NFL and was a first-round pick of the New England Patriots in 1973. And his father, Derek Stingley Sr., was a professional baseball player for the Philadelphia Phillies for a few years before being on the New York Jets practice squad and eventually finding his footing in the Arena Football League, where he played defensive back, collecting 19 interceptions and 110 pass deflections. So Stingley Jr.'s football inspiration was clear from the start, and his talents highlighted skills from both generations before him. He has the ball skills of his grandfather, who was set to be one of the highest paid receivers in the NFL before a career-ending injury, and he has the defensive instincts of his father. In high school, Stingley Jr. quickly established himself as being one of the most dangerous playmakers on both sides of the ball at Dunham High School. He would rack up over 30 offers from colleges across the country, and by his senior year, he would not only be one of the best players in the state of Louisiana, but the best player in the country in the class of 2019, according to Rivals. Over his junior and senior seasons, he intercepted 14 passes in 20 games and only allowed 1 completion in 2 years. He also had almost 800 total yards and 12 total touchdowns his senior year as a wide receiver. He would lead Dunham to a couple district titles and was a Louisiana Gatorade Player of the Year as a junior, to go along with being a USA Today All-American. For college, Stingley felt a connection to LSU from the beginning of his recruiting process and decided to stay close to home. Enrolling early at LSU, Stingley Jr. quickly made his presence known on the field. During spring practices, he was the best DB, so he would earn the starting cornerback job for the 2019 season. And it wouldn't take long for opposing teams to realize how dominant he was as a lockdown corner. Early in the season, he had a 3-game stretch where he had an interception in each game, and he would also set an SEC championship game record for having 2 picks in a game versus Georgia. And he was a huge part of the 2019 championship run for the Tigers. It was one of the best freshman seasons ever, bar none. He led the SEC in picks with 6. He was second in the nation with 21 pass deflections to go along with 38 tackles. And he collected all the accolades you could hope for as a freshman. He was a consensus All-American, first-team All-SEC, and SEC Newcomer of the Year. So having seamlessly transitioned from high school to college football dominance, expectations were sky high for his sophomore year, with whispers of a potential Heisman season being in his future. But his sophomore year would be injury-riddled, dealing with a nagging leg injury and a concussion. He would play in 7 games, missing 3 due to injury, but he still flashed his potential in spurts throughout the season. His stats would take a dip, collecting 27 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, 5 pass deflections, and a forced fumble, but no interceptions. But even that season would net him first-team All-SEC honors. For 2021, Stingley Jr. was looking to have a great injury-free season to stamp his name at the top of college football, even changing his number to LSU's prestigious number 7. But his season was short-lived, only playing in 3 games due to a foot injury, with his most memorable plays from the season being him whiffing on a tackle resulting in a TD against UCLA and him forcing a fumble against Central Michigan. On October 6, LSU announced that Stingley Jr. would undergo surgery on his foot, and he will most likely not play another game in college, being that he's still a top 5 pick in most scouts' eyes. And even though his last 2 years didn't live up to the hype of his freshman season, he is still one of, if not the best, cornerback prospect scouts have ever seen. He has all the tools and qualities you look for in a lockdown corner. He has the size, speed, and ball skills, and he's rumored to run a 4.3 40 and have a 42-inch vertical, so he will shine at the combine. He has great footwork, fluidity, and change of direction, and he is very instinctive and scheme versatile, even being compared to Marshawn Lattimore because of their similar skills and movements, with Lattimore being a little more physical coming out of Ohio State. And Lattimore just got paid a $97 million contract extension, so that is what Stingley will be aiming for once he touches the league. But even though Stingley is one of the safest picks of the NFL draft, he does have some knocks. First, we have to talk about the durability concerns, especially looking at his last 2 seasons. Other than that, it's hard to find holes, but some scouts say he can be handsy, similar to J.C. Horn from a season ago, and to nitpick even more, he allows easy separation on some in-breaking routes, and even though he is a solid tackler, it can be shored up some more. But the NFL is a man coverage league. Teams are starving for players like Derek Stingley Jr. With a little more experience and polish, he's going to be able to lock up top tier NFL wide receivers. Guys like him are hard to find. If I'm Detroit, Jacksonville, New York Jets, or Atlanta, I'm turning in my draft card and knowing I'm getting a generational talent. And I just want to thank you guys for watching. If you got all the way to the end, I really rock with you. If this is your first time on the channel, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter and definitely let me know who you would like to see next. And we out.